lovelies, I'm Christina and today I'm giving you a little bit of a book haul. Again, it's not that I've been buying an extreme amount of books lately, but I haven't done hauls in a really long while, so that's what's happening here. It's just accumulated a bit. But as I've mentioned, I have been traveling quite a bit lately, and I did buy some books while I was out of the country, so I'm gonna show you those books. Firstly, I bought 4 books when I was in London. The first two I've already talked about. The first one is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. It is a non-fiction book where Dolly tells us what she has experienced with love and sex and drugs and everything worth mentioning, and especially friendships. I talked about this earlier on, but I'm going to mention it again. Highly recommend. Next up, we have a classic science fiction novel. I've also mentioned this one in a wrap-up recently, and that is The Black Cloud by Fred Hoyle. I think I've mentioned this in my last wrap-up, that is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. It gets confusing after a while. But anyways, it is the story of a big black cloud that comes towards Earth, and it's going to block the sun. Temperature on Earth will then rapidly go down. So it's the story of how they discover this cloud and what happens when the cloud actually blocks the sun, and even more that happens after that. Really good science fiction novel. Highly recommend. Then I bought 2 books for my son, and we are reading them together because he wants to practice his English a little bit, and he's been talking about these books for a while, and I couldn't find them anywhere here in Norway, so I was really happy to find them in a Waterstones in London. And those are 2 of the Goosebumps books. The first one is The Haunter by Stine. I remember loving these stories as a kid. This one says Sammy Baker is a quiet kid who wants to prove he can be brave. On Halloween night, he follows his friends to the Marble House, an abandoned mansion on the other side of town. Just past midnight, he feels a cold tingle at the back of his neck. Soon his whole head feels like a block of ice. He's about to scream, but the frigid sensation vanishes. Sammy doesn't realize that he had just met the Haunter, and that his nightmares are only just beginning. And the other one is this one, The Blob That Ate Everyone. Zach wants to be a famous horror writer, so he's thrilled when he finds an old typewriter in a burned-out antique store. Soon he's writing a story about a giant blob monster who eats up an entire town. But there's something really odd about that typewriter, something really dangerous, because now every word Zach writes is coming true. We've already started this one, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Then I bought 3 books when I was in California. All 3 I bought at a used bookstore at the Mockingbird used books. The first one is one that I'm currently reading, and it is The Valkyries by Paulo Coelho. It is fictional, but it's still a story about Coelho and his wife Christina, and they're heading out into the Mojave Desert for 40 days, I think it is, and to find the Valkyries so they can show them how to get in touch with their guardian angels and how to talk to them. I have mixed feelings about this one so far. I do really enjoy Paulo Coelho's writing, but I'm having a hard time getting really invested in this. We'll see what I think when I'm done. Next 2 are 2 Stephen King novels. Surprise, surprise. The first one is The Eyes of the Dragon. Don't really know much about this story, to be honest. Once upon a time, there was a terror, The Eyes of the Dragon, a tale of archetypical heroes and sweeping adventure of dragons and princes and evil wizards. Here is to epic fantasy as only Stephen King could envision it. A kingdom is in turmoil after old King Roland dies, and his worthy successor, Prince Peter, is imprisoned by the evil Flag. Oh my. Lot of Easter eggs here. And his pawn, young Prince Thomas. But Flag's evil plot is not perfect, for he knows not of Thomas's terrible secret or Prince Peter's daring plan to escape to claim what is rightfully his. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of Easter eggs for Stephen King fans here, and that makes me even more excited. Can't wait to get to this one. Now, the last book that I'm going to show you is the one that I was most excited about finding. I also found this one in the Mockingbird used bookstore, and it is a first edition Stephen King. It's the first one I've owned so far, and I got stupidly excited about it. I wish someone had filmed it because it was just me being all oohing and eyeing and jumping around. But it is the Firestarter, and look at it. It's so pretty. Absolutely love it. It is so pretty. In 1969, Annie McGee and Vicki Tomlinson participate in a drug experiment run by a Vail government agency known as The Shop. 1 year later, they marry. 2 years after that, their little girl, Charlie, sets her teddy bear on fire by looking at it. Now that Charlie's 8, she doesn't start fires anymore. Her parents have taught her to control her pyrokinesis, the ability to set anything, toys, clothes, even people, aflame. But the Shop knows about and wants this pigtailed ultimate weapon. Shop agents set out to hunt down Charlie and her father in a ruthless and terrifying chase that ranges from the streets of New York to the backwoods of Vermont. And once they get her, they plan to use Charlie's capacity for love to force her into developing a power as horrifyingly destructive as it is seductive. What they don't take into account is that even a child can know the pleasure of the whip hand and the satisfaction of revenge. Let the reader beware, for Firestarter is Stephen King at his most mesmerizing and menacing. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. So there you have it. Those are the books that I bought while I was traveling in London and California. I didn't buy any books while I was in Copenhagen, actually. Surprisingly enough. So let me know in the comments down below if you have any treasures when it comes to books that you were just stupidly excited to find, because I'm thinking I'm not the only book lover that does this. But I would really like to know. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video soon. Goodbye!